Hello and welcome. You're watching Markets Today and Business Today. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this edition, we discuss all about stock markets, how we have seen an opening today, and what kind of a trade can you expect going forward from here. For this week, what will be the important triggers for the stock markets to track, as well as investors and traders? What's the most prudent strategy that you all must adopt at this point in time? All of that upcoming in the next 4 to 5 odd minutes. So do stay tuned onto with us. First up, as to what kind of an opening have we seen? Well, it's a sharp gap down that you've seen today after following the overnight cues and coming in from Russia and across the globe. Russian president has continuously strengthened its stance and aggression against Ukraine. We are seeing the war escalating at this point in time. Russian president has also put nuclear forces on high alert following the sanctions that most of the developed markets are, kind of considering against Russia, be it, removing some of the banks from the SWIFT payment system and other sanctions that Canada, UK, and US are considering to cripple the financial system of Russia at this point in time. And Russia is now not getting any kind of kind of scared at this point in time. It is in fact moving ahead with its aggression and saying that any kind of implications that it may have from other developing countries would actually prompt it to use the nuclear forces at this point in time. And the trigger of that was definitely felt in the stock markets across the globe. The US futures first definitely showing a sharp fall, led by, leading to the Asian markets also slipping away in early trade, and the Indian markets are starting almost 700 points lower on the Sensex today at 55,125, with 1.3% a cut that we saw on the Sensex. The Nifty also was down over 200 points right at open at 16,447. The declines are getting aggravated at this point in time. Look at 626 shares that have advanced in trade, and this is as opposing the declines that is almost to the tune of 1,500 shares. About 142 shares remain unchanged at this point in time. Of course, there's a few shares that are still showing some kind of a bucking movement at this point in time. But the Airtel, Tata Motors, HDFC Life, HDFC Bank, and Dr. Reddy's showing some kind of strength on the back of individual news flows that is backing these shares. But on the other hand, you have stocks like Hindalco, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, Power Grid, all of them slipping into the lower territory as well. Talk about Bharti Airtel. Of course, it will be in focus right now because the firm plans to acquire about 4.7% stake in Indus Towers. Reliance Industries shares will be in focus. Future Group shares will be in focus. There is news buzzing on how Reliance is going to be taking over the Future Group. So keep an eye out on that space as well. A whole lot of other stocks also on the back of reports coming in on the brokerage houses front is definitely going to be on radar. Say, for example, Dr. Reddy's will be in focus as well. But overall speaking, the FII flows will be an important factor to track. Remember, from the last 5 months, or we have been seeing FIIs on a selling spree, and even last week they have sold to the tune of over 19,000 odd crore rupees. Even though most of these losses were offset by DIIs, but we do see continuous sell-off coming in amidst the Ukraine-Russia crisis and the flight of money taking away from the Indian stock markets as well. For this week, of course, FII flows will be important to track apart from the Ukraine Russia developments. But what will also be important to track is that India will be reporting its GDP numbers for the third quarter of the current financial year at 5:30 p.m. On today. And that will be an important factor to track. And we'll keep getting you what it would definitely mean as far as the overall GDP growth will be concerned for this entire financial year, which has been pegged at 9.2% by the National Statistics Office. The PMI readings on manufacturing and services also are due on Wednesday and Friday, respectively. Those will be other macro data points that the markets will be tracking. And apart from that, we will also keep an eye out on that this is a truncated week. Markets will be shut on Tuesday on account of Mahashivratri. So that will be, a truncated week. You have one lost trading session there. However, most of the investors do see this as a breaking of the pattern because we have seen a sharp fall in the opening action today itself on the back of the Ukraine-Russia crisis. Of course, experts also do see that Fed's chair testimony, crude oil rates will also be important factors to track throughout this week. And of course, we will be having the auto sales numbers coming away on 1st of March, reflecting what kind of a month have we seen coming out of the semiconductor issue and seeing an improved demand, whether it is in the two-wheeler space or in the four-wheeler space as well. So the news flows will be definitely important to track, but overall, the news flows will be arched by the developments in the Ukraine Russia crisis. So, how do you, as investors, really approach your investments at this point in time? For traders, especially, most of the experts say that it is a time to be cautious and not get too aggressive with your leveraged positions at this point in time. For the investors front, most of the experts believe that any dips that you see in the stock markets would perhaps give you some opportunities to get into very, very quality, good fundamental names, but be very cautious of the money that you deploy. Don't go all out in. Most of the experts believe at this point in time it is absolutely critical to have a diversified portfolio. So that means that you will have to have a mix of equity, debt, cash, and even gold in your portfolio at this point in time to be able to protect yourself from the risks that may emerge from this global geopolitical crisis that we are seeing at this point in time. We'll keep you updated with everything that's buzzing around the street and how the stock market experts are really suggesting investors to take which route and what's the outlook they see for the stock markets. Is there more downside from the Ukraine Russia crisis that we may see going forward from here for the stock markets or not? Those will be some of the critical points that we will be tracking throughout the day. So don't forget to subscribe to our Business Today YouTube channel if you've not done already. And also stay tuned with us throughout this day to track all the buzzing developments across the world. Thanks a lot for tuning in for now.